Time now for everyone's favorite segment of the week. It is time.
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans.
Fake ID that you got.
Yeah, I had a fake ID.
Somebody on the
Ladies and
chat
gentlemen,
was like,
the moment
I'm
has
sure Ariel
arrived
had a
to hear
fake
from the man himself,
library ID.
Ariel Helwani.
Listen, she never specified what the idea was for. You know, I mean, it could have been a GameStop fake ID. You know, you never know with these
Not a
things.
bad choice.
You know yourself, Frank. You know yourself.
Ariel Helwani.
Oh, there I am once again. All right, let's get into it. No time to waste. Israel D is up first. Good afternoon from Idaho. I wanted to get your thoughts on Dana White continuing to plant his flag that Power Slap is not only successful, referencing that he just cut a deal bigger than the UFC deal they cut with Spike TV, but also drawing more numbers on social media than 4 major sports. He also went on to reference that a third-party company like Nielsen, shout out to one, has confirmed these numbers. Do you agree with any of this? Or, as Dana White said, most of you guys don't understand social media and how it works. Thank you, as always, Israel. I should have been holding the string because that is a hot tag if I ever seen one, my friends. I meant to get to this on Monday, but I didn't get to it because it was already a packed show and I had to go to the airport. And so wouldn't you know it, we actually have the clip of Dana White from Saturday in an absolute master spin class, if you will, talking about the success of Power Slap, the time-buy entity that was put on TBS that after the first season came and went, TBS said, no mas. And now they're on something that I think, I don't know if it's as relevant as MySpace or Friendster. It's called Rumble. I saw him wearing a Rumble shirt earlier today and has nothing to do with, Michael Buffer. In any event, here's the clip. And I would love to talk more about this because I meant to do so on Monday. Roll the tape.
The deal that I just cut for Slap is bigger than the UFC deal we cut with Spike TV after the first season of The Ultimate Fighter.
Do you mind pausing it right there? That's a great thing that they cut a deal for Slap with something called Rumble. To boast, though, that it's bigger than the deal that they cut for the first season of The Ultimate Fighter or after the first season of The Ultimate Fighter on Spike TV back in 2005, if my memory is, or my math is correct, that is 18 years ago, seems a little bit suspect. That was 18 years ago. Now, I guess what you're trying to say is, all right, we did one season and it's bigger than the deal that we did after the first season of that other thing. But again, I believe there's something called inflation, the economy change. Yeah, you've heard of that? I mean, there wasn't even a thing called, Twitter back in 2005. Certainly not Rumble, certainly not Instagram. You know what I mean? So again, classic spin, but if you want to give yourself the old Barry H for cutting a deal bigger than the one that you cut after the first season of The Ultimate Fighter, fine. It's all good. This is a pet project. It means a lot. Proceed.
Give a shit what the media says about it. They don't matter.
He does. They do.
So
because they send press releases and want everyone to cover it.
Basically,
it's fucking unbelievable. Not only is it unbelievable money-wise, it's been unbelievable as far as social media goes. We're number one in all of sports. And when I say all of sports, if you take the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, F1, WWE, and who am I forgetting, and added them all together, their numbers don't compare to Slap's.
Okay, please pause there. Now, again, if you would have said, we beat the NHL, even if you want to say we beat, NBA, it's fine. Who's going to look through these numbers and actually compare? No one. But to imply that we are better than the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, F1, WWE, and I'm sure because he says what else? There's soccer. Throw them all in. To imply that Slap's social numbers are bigger than all of them combined, Frankie, combined. He didn't just say we're bigger than this entity and that entity. He's putting them all in one bucket and so my question is, does he actually believe this nonsense? Or is this just brilliant promotion? Because here we are talking about it, right? But no one, that's why I just tweeted a Cap, because it's this is full stop Cap. There is no way in hell that any entity, by the way, do NBA versus all of them combined, do NFL versus all of them combined, do soccer versus all of them combined, do WWE versus all of them combined. No entity is bigger than all of them combined. None. And certainly not two truck drivers from Idaho slapping each other, in front of 6 people at the Apex. That ain't cutting it. Okay, so no one believes this. And it's just weird. Like, it's one thing to promote it. It's another thing to go the extra 10 miles and just lie about it. That's the part that I don't understand. Proceed.
Yeah.
It seems a little doubtful.
Yeah, you can doubt it all you want.
I mean,
By the way,
covering
shout out to this reporter. I think he's from MMA Mania. Please pause. He was pushing back, and even like that, like doubtful. Like, it takes cojones to do that. It takes balls to do that. I would love to see the evidence. I would absolutely love to see the evidence. Please proceed.
And there were people watching, but
There were people watching. It did 3.2 million viewers, and 1.7 million of them had never been to Rumble before.
Okay, please pause there. There is no way that you can compare. Like, what are the metrics? What's a view? What's a view on Rumble? Someone clicks on it for a second. You can't compare YouTube numbers and Rumble numbers to TV numbers to pay-per-view numbers. It's all different. It's all different. So it's silly to try to make that comparison. Twitter, I remember I did my first show that I did for ESPN in 2018. They streamed it on Twitter. I hated it. I was depressed. I wanted the show to be on YouTube, but they're like, we're going to do it on Twitter. And when the show was done, it had 1 million views within seconds. And I was like, there's no way this show has 1 million views. There's no way. There's no way 1 million people just watch that. And they're like, oh, well, Twitter counts a view as someone scrolling over it for a second. I was like, that's not a view. Tell me how many people like actually watched. Tell me how many people watched for 2 minutes, for 3 minutes, for 4 minutes, for 5 minutes. Make the cutoff point 5 minutes. I don't care about someone who's watching the show for 30 seconds. So of those 3.2 million, which by the way, pales in comparison to any NBA playoff number, or NFL playoff number, or global soccer number. That's the number that you're talking about, 3.2 and 1.7. That's like a good Monday Night Raw, let alone a WrestleMania, let alone a Champions League semifinal. Cap, please proceed.
one of those, that's for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Call Cap on that too.
It certainly
He wasn't
that
watching.
number didn't show up on that counter that Rumble had.
But that's how it works when you stream. When streaming, it's not really the actual number right there. It's the same thing when you go live on Instagram. I mean, is Eric in here?
Isn't New York Rick, by the way?
Like, if
he
you have
asking
a
for New
big
York
number
Rick?
and you're streaming,
Was he asking for New York Rick? I thought because he was social. No. Okay.
I think he was.
how does that exactly work? Right.
This is good stuff. So what he's talking about is like right now there's 6,000 people watching this.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the number will be
So
higher,
you were
right?
saying 21,000 concurrents. What's a massive number when you're streaming? I mean, we were the biggest stream on a Saturday for Slap. The good thing is that most of you guys don't understand social media and how it works.
This is my favorite part.
And
This is my favorite part. My favorite part is the dude who just asked New York Rick about the social numbers is then telling us that we don't understand social media. He's like, so how does the concurrent work? Like, that's the guy. Like, he literally just asked how the numbers work, and then he's telling us that we don't know. So put yourself in that. And I'm not like, I know people are gonna be like, oh, you're hating. No, it's like you watch this clip. It's like, what? Have I entered some sort of weird Twilight Zone? What is happening here? Like, why are we dying on this hill? Why are we fighting for this thing? Why are we forcing this thing down people's throats? We don't understand how social media works. By the way, I feel like I understand how social media works pretty well. I mean, I'm just saying, and I would argue that probably most of the media at this point understands social media, because if you don't understand social media, you can't really do this job anymore. It's just a byproduct. I would argue that media people actually probably know how social media works way more than fight promoters know. Please proceed. That's why they have an Eric and we don't. I mean, we do have an Eric, but you get the point. Please.
What publication are you from?
Oh, here we
MMA
go.
Mania.
Okay. I'll give you the numbers on Slap that were done by a third party that does this. We didn't pull the numbers.
Where's
These
the
guys
numbers?
are like the Nielsen's numbers for social media.
the Nielsen's.
We destroy everything in sports with Power Slap.
I mean, it's just not true.
And
why
are
isn't
you
it
at
on
all
TBS
concerned
anymore?
that some of it is perhaps, and I'll apologize in advance because it sounds a little rude, but
No,
some of it
fire
might be-
away.
Some of it might be laughing at, not with, kind of a deal, like bad publicity.
Not a bad question.
You know,
Do you think I give a shit?
I mean,
That's
kind-
why just asked.
I just did a deal that's bigger than the UFC did when they went on Spike TV. I don't give a shit who's laughing. You know who's laughing? This guy.
there you go.
That's who's
Hey,
laughing.
And by the way,
answered
that
my
may be
question. Thank
true,
you.
but there is no way in hell that he truly means that. He does care. They always care. You have to be in the business of people caring. You have to be in the business of people wanting to buy the product or watch the product, tune in for the product. Otherwise, you would never promote the product. Otherwise, you would never send a press release. You would never make a countdown show. You wouldn't make a reality show. What are you talking about? Of course you care. Otherwise, the thing doesn't have longevity. It's not a success. So it's easy to say I don't care when in reality, the guy who, behaves the way in which he does and blocks people and bans people and stuff, he cares more than anyone. Ultimately, we're spending way too much time talking about slap here. I don't believe because the UFC or Dana White or Lorenzo Fertitta invest in slap means that an MMA show or any combat show has to talk about it. I think it's gutter stuff. I don't understand why MMA media talks about it, and I certainly don't understand. As good as that exchange was, and as much I want to give that guy from MMA Mania, I don't know his name, I apologize, props. I don't know why slap is being even asked at a UFC 288 press conference. Henry Cejudo just fought Aljamain Sterling. Bilal Muhammad just fought Gilbert Burns. Matt Frivola just knocked out Drew Dober. Yan Xiaonan just knocked out Jessica Andrade. There's nothing else that you can ask about. You can't ask about John Jones and Stipe or Connor or Izzy's next fight or why you booked, there's a million things I could think of off the top of my head right now. Why are we still asking about this? Why are we still covering this? Because it involves him and it's a business thing that they're doing, then fine. Then if that's the answer, fine. But I don't think one has to do with the other. I don't think because you are an MMA media member, you have to cover all the other entities. I just don't. And I suspect, as time goes on, it will just kind of phase out, fizzle out. But Lord knows they're going to ram it down our throats because they don't want this one to fail. Like, Ultimate Surfer and the Boxing Contender Show and the other stuff that we've already laid out. Anyway, let's go to question 2. Jake Vandenberg. Hello, Ariel, and good morning to you, longtime listener, first-time Substacker. Thank you. My question for you this morning is how confident or non-confident are you that Nate Diaz makes a return to the UFC with the latest fight with Jake Paul coming? Do you think the results of that match impacts his chances of fighting for the UFC? Does a win imply bigger boxing fights or bigger MMA fights? Maybe after getting a chance to talk to him, you have a better outlook on his future. He did mention, as Chael said at the press conference yesterday, that his goal was to beat Jake Paul and go back to the UFC. And he has mentioned this before. I'm going to come back. And I think there is a part of him that wants to end his career there. I do wonder if he sees the success monetarily that he will achieve going out on his own, being a 50-50 partner, if he ever says, what's the point? Now, the Conor fight could do massive business, and that's probably the only one left for him there with Jorge gone. And, he just fought Tony and all that stuff. Those were the big fights. So it's the Conor fight that's left. But is there a world where Conor fights his 2 last fights and then does it solo as well? That could happen too. I'm sure the UFC will try, as hard as possible, as they should, to not let that happen. But it could happen. So I think Diaz is just feeling out the waters. He wants to see how this goes. And overall, I saw some people say, look, should there have been fans there yesterday? Yes. Let's just chill. This was like an on-sale press conference, all right? Let's all just chill out. This isn't a fight week press conference, and I will fully admit I'm close to the sun. And by the way, I will fully admit right here now, I said, and I asked, why aren't there fans? And I did suggest that fans would be better for this type of scene, especially with these fighters, especially with Diaz, who feeds off that energy. And I was told that that wasn't part of the plan. And so I'm just going up there, I'm doing the gig, and I'm going home. It was well attended media wise. A bunch of people flew in. I saw Mark Ramundi of ESPN. He doesn't live in Dallas. I saw Mike Bond of MMA Junkie. He doesn't live in Dallas. I saw Oscar Willis of the Mac Life. He doesn't live in Dallas. So people flew in for this. That's a success. And I heard that the early on sale, went very, very well. It was a massive success. So there's a lot to be excited about. My guy Spencer, who's the freaking man, put up some clips on my TikTok and they went nuts. Those went nuts, better than anything that I posted in months. So there's a lot of interest. I think people always want Nate to perform and go crazy and act a fool. And that's just not him, especially in an environment like that where he feels like everyone's watching him. So I think if it was fine for what it was, I think as it builds, it's going to feel bigger. And we'll see if there's going to be tension. I think there will be more and more tension. And I think there's enough intrigue in seeing Nate's first fight post-UFC first boxing match, him doing it on his own. I think there's a lot there. But I will also fully admit, like, I'm a part of the broadcast and I'm excited to be a part of the broadcast. And it's a big deal for me to work a Nathan Diaz fight. I never got that opportunity. I do have one regret. And yesterday was cool and seeing Diaz there, and everyone's very cool. And it's my first time doing stuff for DAZN. And I'm really excited to go to Ireland next week to work on the Katie Taylor coverage. I do have one regret. And the one regret was when that guy from Better, made the joke about Nick Diaz or whatever that was. I feel like I should have said something, because ultimately, like, I'm the host of the press conference and I'm the moderator. And I feel like I get what he was trying to do. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to create moments, viral moments. But I also do feel like you're sitting there among the media and you ask for the microphone. It's one thing to do it like in a scrum or, on the street, this or that. I have the utmost respect for any single person who walks in that cage through the ropes. And that's any fighter. A 1-0 fighter, a Jake Paul, a Salt Poppy, a KSI, a Dr. Mike, anyone who does it, because they're a better man than I am, and they're a tougher human being than I am, and they have more balls and cojones and all that stuff, man or woman. I have the utmost respect for them. And then you talk about Nick Diaz, who is, you throw around the word legend. I do, certainly, too freely. He is a legend. He is an icon. He is royalty. And he has spilled more blood and been tested more and has been cut up more and has given us more than 99.9% of the fighters in the history of MMA. If I'm involved in a press conference, don't talk about Nick Diaz like that. Don't talk about any fighter like that, but certainly not Nick Diaz. And I was mad at myself that I didn't say something. Now, I'm not trying to make a spectacle, and I know he works for Better, and I know they're just trying to create a moment. But any press conference, anything that I'm a part of, I'm not going to be standing there as you try to, like you're a 100-pound kid trying to disrespect Nick Diaz. Just that didn't sit well with me. And again, I get it. I understand what they were doing. That's all well and good. Don't do it at a press conference that you're asking me to work. And he's not even there, right? He's not even fighting. That didn't sit well. And I was mad at myself that I didn't at least say something. I think I said something under my breath. And Nate took it from there, and he should take it from there, and it's his thing to do. But Nick is the freaking man. And I don't know, like, who doesn't revere and respect Nick? What? Are you kidding me? What are we doing? Shout out to Drake, by the way. Did you guys see Drake talk about it? He was not very happy. So I feel like by proxy, Drake was watching my work, which is kind of cool. Yo, Helwani, how's it going? Gomi is the GOAT. I was wondering if you heard what Dominick Cruz said about you. Oh, a lot of juicy things. When he was on the Fight Companion with Brendan, the guest asked Dom, I think that guy, forgive me if I'm wrong, I think he's on the Logan Paul show, Impulsive, but I could be wrong. How he felt about you, and his response wasn't what I expected. Dom basically said he doesn't want to get his emotions involved because if he did, it would get messy. To be honest, I thought you and Dom had a great relationship. So I'll be honest, Jedi Goodman posted this video, and I saw it. Now remember, Dom was on the show on Monday. Dom has said that he doesn't like to do a lot of media, but he loves coming on the show, and we've had a great relationship for many, many years. Dom is obviously, a different kind of cat, but I think we get along and we text on the side and all that stuff. And I have the utmost respect for him. And I love when he's on. And I loved when he was on Monday. And so I saw that clip and I was like, shit, this was from Saturday. Dom and I got beef. Are we in a fight? What's going on here? And so what I like to do, and as I've done with every single one of these situations, from Ali to Ben Askren back in the day, to Dana, to Dominick Cruz, to Brendan Schaub, like, I reach out. I like to nip it in the bud. I don't like to let it fester. I don't want bad vibes. I don't want negativity. I don't want any of that. So if I feel or hear that someone has beef or has an issue, I just reach out. Donald Cerrone back in the day. And so I reached out to him. I was like, Dom, what's up with this clip? Are you mad at me? Did we get into a fight? A lot of people are asking me about this. What is happening? And Dom gave me a very good explanation, because initially I was talking to the guys and we all kind of agreed that it did seem like he didn't want to say anything bad about me because he felt a certain way about me. And I didn't ask him if I could give the explanation, but I don't see why I can't. And the explanation made a ton of sense. The explanation was that he had heard that there was some kind of issue back in the day between Brendan and I, which is true. And he didn't want to get in between. He's on Brendan's show. He sits there and says, hey, I love Ariel. He's my guy. He didn't know how Brendan would respond. He didn't know if they were baiting him, if they were trying to create a scene or something. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to keep it down the middle, which I respect. Now, could you come back and say like, hey, man, that's your boy. Like, it doesn't matter. He could have, sure. But I get it. He's in his house. He's on his show. You know what? I'm going to stay out of it. Knowing that and then going back and rewatching the clip totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Again, this guy was on the show on Monday. He was on the show on Monday, and it was a lovely conversation. So there's no beef there. I think he just didn't want to get involved. And by the way, thank you, Brendan, for the kind words. Like I said, no hate in my heart. We address the issues. We address the lies. We move on, and we hope for everyone's success. Jake, what's up, Ariel and crew? Do you think the UFC should change the need to a ground opponent rule like one championship? Would have made a huge difference in the Aljo fight if it were legal. No, I don't. I don't think it should be changed. But I can understand, listen, there's always going to be people who are going to try and, do things. That's called strategy. That's called prep. That's called, being smart. But DJ's take on it on Monday was fascinating. P.S. Still waiting for the video to be included on Spotify. I know that's not Frank's job, so who's to blame? Keep up the great work. Jake, I don't know. Why don't you just watch it on YouTube? Why does it need to be on Spotify?
Facts.
What?
Facts.
Right. My good friend Andrew Feldman, who does such a great job each and every time we do a show. What's up, Ariel and the rest of the crew? I see some similarities between Cormier and Aljo's relationship with the fans. Both fighters seem to be great representation of the sport. Say a lot of right things, but for some reason, mostly hear boos. Well, not Cormier. In my opinion, early in Cormier's career, but not later. The fans' perception is that DC only won the belt because Jones eliminated himself from the competing, and Aljo only won because, well, the thing is, once he beat Stipe, I think that went away. Could say that for Aljo, but once he beat Stipe, I think that went away. I know you used to help advise DC with different things to say pre and post fight. So if you were in that position with Aljo, what would you tell him? Go full heel? No, I hate when people say that. Aljo's a good guy, and he's turning the corner. Forget the Jan fight. Look at your resume. Look what you've done since the Marlon fight. Look at who you've beaten. Look what you did in the Jan rematch. Look what you did to Cejudo. Look what you did to TJ. Compromised or not. Forget that one blip. What about all the other wins? People act like the Jan fight was like the first one, like his only win. It's ridiculous. I would say move on from that. Focus on the good. Be yourself. Remember when Aljo first came into the UFC, he was the funk master with the high top and the gold chain. Just be yourself. And they'll come around. Just like they come around on DJ, just like they came around on Daniel, and so many others. Max, guten Tag, Ariel. Quick one this week. Who do you think has had the best post-UFC run? Maybe Mighty Mouse, but Perry has a case as well. Or does any other fighter come to mind? Greetings from Germany, my man. Lewis offers some suggestions. Thank you. Appreciate it. Cyborg, to a degree. And congrats to her on re-signing with Bellator. As much as I want to see the Kayla fight, bummer. Phil DeFries, at least maybe we won't get it now, but next year. Phil DeFries, great. I mean, he's done a tremendous job. KSW. Gegard had a nice run. OAM has had a nice run. Horiguchi, nice run. Pettis, nice run. Ryan Bader, non-fighting Dan Hardy. Yeah, those are all tough. I think Perry has had a tremendous run and somewhat of an unexpected run. Nick Diaz had a big run post-UFC, remember? Strike Force and all that, Elite XC. So, I mean, it's tough to pick one, but Lewis gave me all the suggestions, so I'm going to run with those. It's been a long day. Abe, hello, Ariel and crew. As much as the GOAT and pound-for-pound debates are so subjective, I still love them, and I'm interested to hear where you think Pitbull ranks in the pound-for-pound talks if he becomes champ. Oh, that would be interesting. Does not fighting in the UFC discount him? Yeah, I mean, you're being Sergio Pettis. That means something. Huge fan of Leon and Islam, but I think Aljo has a good case for being above both. P.S. Congrats on the massive Forest win. You play my beloved Arsenal next. Commiserations in advance, but I hope he can still be cool afterwards. And since GC has confirmed he'll ship if Forest go down, we know he loves the merch as Arsenal's black kid is the best in the game. Much love, your boy Abe. It's a big one. 3 games left, guys. We've got Arsenal, Chelsea, and of course Crystal Palace. I mean, again, people want to say what they want to say. I was in the freaking car listening to Sirius XM-FC on Monday as my guy Morgan Gibbs White with one of the greatest touches you'll ever see from Brendan Johnson, by the way. Did you guys see it? I mean, GC, did you see that play?
Of course.
The back pat, whatever that is called. I mean, I'm not going to pretend. I didn't even know what like a center back was 6 months ago. I mean, I'm just being honest. But my kids, I go like, this is it. And again, I get the jokes about Everton and all that stuff all the time. One last time. The Leicester thing, the first team I ever loved, by the way, and people are going to roll their eyes now. The first player in Premier League that I loved was Thierry Henry because I liked France and he was on Arsenal. And was I aware of like Arsene Wenger and Robin van Persie? Sure. I did fantasy soccer in 2005. My favorite player was, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot. Ashley Young of Watford, who's still playing, by the way, for Aston Villa. And it was 1 year, and then I swore off all fantasy, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's too time consuming. Always watch the World Cup. My family, my uncle Gad Sad, who you may see online talking about soccer, he's huge into soccer. Soccer was a big part of our family, but for me, it was more NBA, NFL, etc. Fast forward, Leicester does their thing, and I'm clearly jumping. Like people pull up the tweets. Eric and I would joke about Leicester all the time on the show. That's when they had their miraculous run, I think, in 2017. That was all a joke. That was just because I was jumping on the bandwagon. But fine, people want to pull. Then we had the thing with Patty and Molly when we were all pals. Molly said, you can't root for Liverpool, root for Everton. So I was like, sure, I'll put an Everton mug here. On my life, never watched a full Everton match. Never cared, couldn't name a person on the team. I would always reference Wayne Rooney because I knew that was a joke because he was on United way more than Everton, right? Sitting on this show last summer, if you recall, my kids are now really starting to get into soccer. Now, at the time, they're into it, they're playing, but they're not really following it, but I could sense it coming. So I said on the show, I was like, we need to find a new team. The relationship with Molly isn't great. I'm going to just jump ship. Of course, I love Molly. But, you know, like it's time to move on from the Everton thing because I wasn't invested. Like when I'm all in, I'm all in. All in with the Knicks, all in with the Bills, all in with the Expos back in the day. Like I need to be all in. I'm an all in kind of guy. So let's pick a team. So we picked Nottingham Forest because of the logo, because when I was younger, I remember them in like the soccer league that I was in the 90s. They were a thing. And I just remember, I think I was on Bayern Munich, but I know one of the teams was Nottingham Forest. And because of the story of them coming back to the Premier League after 23 years. So I'm like, I'm in. Then I'm going to London/Wales for WWE Clash at the Castle, and they're playing Man City. So I convinced my guy, Raj, from BT Sport to take us, or me, from London to Manchester, which is, you know, unbeknownst to me, a 5 to 6 hour drive in traffic. We go to the game. And then I meet some of the Forest guys. They give me the jersey. I sit in the away end, and now I'm like fully in. And I got to tell you, a lot of this is because of my kids. My kids love soccer. They love it. They love following it. They're aware of the Knicks players and Julius Randle and all that, but like they could tell you all about, you know, Kevin De Bruyne. Oh, Kevin De Bruyne. What a goal yesterday too. My older son loves Man City, Holland. Phil Foden is his favorite player. I got him a couple of jerseys for his birthday. Gavi, got him a Holland yellow away. Got him a Kevin De Bruyne red and black one. A friend of his has a Holland blue. He didn't want the blue. Anyway, they love it. We watch, we collect the cards. World Cup was tremendous. My middle son, Walter, has chosen to follow in my footsteps and be a Forest fan. And any father out there would understand this. When you find a common thing with your kids that you can both be fans of, because they're not sitting there watching Knicks and Heat with me at 10 p.m. going crazy. Maybe if they're like up and bored, but they don't go on the websites and the YouTube channels and all that. They're not doing that for the Bills yet. They're not doing that for the Blue Jays. They're doing it for soccer. Like they could tell you everything. They're probably watching Champions League right now. When you find that thing, it changes everything. When your kids are playing travel soccer, it changes everything. And now I'm learning about formations and center backs and right backs and what this guy does. I love it. And I'm there with parents who have played soccer and they're teaching me. So it's all I think about now. It's all I love. It's like give me at this point, give me a bit. I said it on Monday. Give me Forest staying up and the Knicks losing in 5, which, by the way, they're toast. If maybe they'll win in 6, and I hope I'm wrong, but the effort that they've shown in Miami was pathetic. And so I see all your plastic fan and your bullshit. Number one, I would say, why the fuck do you care? I certainly don't care, about what you are a fan of. And number two, let me be happy with my kids. Let me enjoy this with my kids. It's given us a common bond. I don't like Pokemon. I don't like Mr. Beast. I don't like whatever else they like. We love this together. I look forward to Saturday mornings, like sitting on the couch and watching with them and talking about this guy and that guy and Mahrez and all these dudes that I didn't even know who Erling Haaland was. I fully admit this last August. Now I freaking love I love watching him play. He's incredible. Foden, I didn't know who he was. Jack Grealish seems like the nicest guy on the planet. Declan Rice, turned his back on Ireland, but all good. Anyway, it's a beautiful thing. I feel like it's a gift to be able to be a fan with your kids, and I'm really enjoying it. And so when I could call up my son on Monday and say, did you see that goal? Did you see what Morgan Gibbs White did? Did you see Brennan Johnson's pass? Did you see the way he dribbled? I could have done that 8 months ago. So that's what I mean when I say that this is a gift. And so to all the haters, you can shove it. I'm loving this, and I don't want it to end. Now, of course, it's not going to end if they get relegated, but it's not the same. I'm in forever. I'm in for life. Love the club. Love what they've given us. Love the vibe. Love the fans. City ground. Forest are magic. I love everything about it. Sorry for going long there, but just wanted to try to explain once and for all this whole thing, because you see the comments and you're like, oh, do I need to battle this every single time? You'll understand if you're a parent. I didn't grow up a soccer fan to the point where like I'm following it. So, I had to find a team. And the funny thing is, people accusing me of being a bandwagon of a team that's been in the relegation zone for the entire... How could I... If I would have chosen Arsenal or Man City, crap on me. I chose Nottingham Forest. The fuck off me. The fuck are you talking about? Anyway, let's move on. Matt Mo. Bonjour, Lord Ariel. On last week's show, GC and Frank and you were deciding on which horse in the Kentucky Derby to bet on. Frank said the 15-1 underdog Mage about 10 times. He literally said Mage. Can we go with Mage? I like Mage. And then Ariel even said, I'll go with whatever you want. Frank then once again said Mage. And then for reasons unbeknownst to MMA Hour fans around the world, you all chose Angel of Empire. My question is for Frank. What was going on in your head when you kept saying Mage and they went with Angel of Empire? I know you said Angel of Empire first, but clearly you wanted Mage after you had heard it first. It felt like you were being ignored and then just ended up giving in. Is this an accurate assessment?
All right, so Frank clearly wrote this question.
This is from Matt Mo. By the way, Lewis offers this up, and I should say, because he wrote it on the bottom and I missed it, can we do we have like a clap or something? Do we have something like a...
Yeah.
No, nothing?
Clap.
Like, like a celebration, like an award show thing? Anyway, this is one... Sure, perfect. This is 1 year of moderating for the great moderator Lewis, who does this out of the kindness of his heart. So, the segment wouldn't be happening anymore if not for his help. So thank you so much. He goes above and beyond and is a really nice addition to the team and a great friend. He's become a friend, and I appreciate him very much. So thank you to moderator Lewis for everything he does, including the little things like giving me context, such as the top 3 finishers for the 149th running of the Kentucky Derby were Mage, Two Phils, and Angel of Empire. So, Frank, how did you feel?
Just wanted you guys to like me. No, in reality, I've actually been spending some of my time listening to another podcast.
Whoa. You're cheating on us?
Cheap Heat.
Oh,
Pro
Major,
wrestling.
yes.
And Peter Rosenberg, the great host that he is, likes to say, stay Mage. So I found the connection there, and I thought if I just kept repeating myself over and over again, you guys would pick up on it. But you did it. That's all right. Listened to the episode yesterday, and they were having the same thing. They were like, oh, Mage, you got to pick Mage. And they also forgot to put the bet in. They lost out on a lot of money. And so, I just felt like it was a good bridge in the gap.
Yeah, we should have went with Mage.
What's going on there?
Oh, no. What is this? Oh, this is a weird... Anyway, let's go to Nim. I haven't heard from Nim in a while here. Dear Mr. Helwani, in honor of moderator Lewis celebrating his 1-year anniversary, I'd like to use a bit of a callback question. Classic Nim. A long time ago, on an On the Nose segment, I asked you and the crew what is your favorite Ariel catchphrase. Examples, back in your life, peace, I'm out of here. And you used to say, come on, as an ode to DC back in the day. I can see you've now phased that out and introduced Connor's You Know Yourself, which is causing all the buzz on Twitter after the Diaz and Paul press conference. By the way, I feel like I still say that, no? So my question is, which fighter's famous line / catchphrases do you enjoy, and are you thinking of adopting them into your vernacular? Here are some suggestions. It is what it is. From? Who's it is what it is from? Anyone can guess?
Max Holloway.
Whoa! New York Rick. From the heavens? Where have you been? Crystal clear sound, too.
I'm here the whole time, baby.
I was talking about you as the guy helping Dana with the stats. You didn't even chime in there. I thought that was your hot tag.
I think there's some rubes online who will actually believe that that's true. So
you just wanted to stay out of it. It was funny though.
He is a social guy named Eric Yee, who runs his social, who he was talking to.
It is what it is. Max Holloway. Not a big fan of it. Is what it is. Khabib, brother. Darren Till. I don't care. Sonnen, that's why they call me the bad guy. Usman, keep that same energy. Rampage, she. I've used she before. And here's an interesting addition. GC, it's tough.
By the way, I feel like he picked ones that are not even like synonymous with some of these fighters. Like Connor's had like 10 different better lines.
You know yourself is subtle, but it's nuanced.
Brother and Khabib.
I was talking about the examples, but yes, also I don't love that one either, if I'm being honest.
By the way,
I thought I wanted sheesh to die. I didn't realize it would be replaced by something that triggers me more. So,
what you don't like? You know yourself?
No, it's not. It's not good.
Yesterday at the press conference, I thought that was like a nod to the MMA Hour team.
No, that was fantastic. I got it.
Popped? You popped?
Yeah, popped. Made me drink a Celsius today. They got them in the fridge over there.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
bubbly, tasty. The lemon, orange.
Actually, for some reason, we have a non-carbonated one, and it's just awful.
Yeah.
I was actually looking for a non-carbonated.
Oh, it's like they took the flavor out of it too. It's not good. Yeah, the carbonated one is great though.
I don't know. You know, these things just have to happen.
Back.
But by the way, did you guys notice when I said I don't charge a fee because I'm already set?
Yeah, you said it twice. I was hoping we were going to get a third time.
Yeah. Did you see that, Rick? Did you like that one?
I saw it.
Did you miss it?
I saw all the moments.
It was a great one. It was a great one. By the way, what did you guys think of the press conference yesterday? Did you enjoy it? Rick, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a bit of an interesting one because I think people were expecting, to your point earlier, like Nate to be a little more like animated. It seemed like Jake even was expecting that, but that's Nate, right? Like I feel like that's maybe like the people who don't really know Nate or what they're in for were expecting something different, but that felt like Nate to me. I thought it was funny. I thought by the end when Nate's walking off and Jake's like, what the hell is going on here? I thought that was the crescendo. And it did what it was intended to do. Put them together, have them have a face off, which seemed dicey there for a second, and then roll into the fight promotion. So all in all, I think it did what it was supposed to do. Similar to how Aljamain Sterling talked about the O'Malley thing. It served its purpose.
Yeah. What about you, GC? Did you like it?
Yeah. You Know Yourself was great.
Thank you.
Nate walking off was great, and then you being like, I said he's just going to the bathroom. He'll be right back. Don't worry about it.
I was worried too.
Okay, actually,
I mean, he was strolling right off. It looked like he had no plans of coming back.
He was my guy.
That raises a question.
Yeah.
There was a moment before that where Jake is giving some long answer, and it cuts back to you and Nate, and you're like pulling him back into the stage. Were you telling him like not to go away? Was it something about the cursing? Because after that,
I'll tell you.
About the cursing.
Okay,
what happened
he was
there?
pulling me back. So what happened was
he was pulling you back.
Yes, someone. I was like, I'm out of here. No, someone came up to me and was like, "Can you go over here?" And like, could you talk? And I was like, oh, I'm going to talk. All right, so Jake's talking, and they said, during the next, break in terms of, answers, can you just apologize to the crowd at home for some of the, some of the language?
Okay.
And so I wanted to try to say that in a way that didn't make me look like a total dweeb. I mean, here I am, cursing up a storm, and that's just the fight game. I don't really understand it, but I'm new, so I'm not going to ruffle any feathers. I think Diaz, Nathan, was looking out for me, and I think he thought that I was in trouble. So he was then like, no, come over here. You're good. Yes. He came like to my defense, which was incredible.
That's amazing.
Yes. And so he's like, no, you're good.
Visually, it looked the other way. It looked like Nate was like, no. out, and you were like pulling him in.
No.
That's a great moment.
That's amazing.
Where you guys got a little knuckle bump in.
Yeah.
That was great. The post where he's like talking about how much weed he has in his system, and they're like, Texas has a strict no marijuana policy. And
that was in the scrum, right?
Yeah, he's like, wait, what? And they're like, it's a strict no marijuana policy. He's like, I didn't know about that. Now these reports are coming out that like he's going to have to get tested for marijuana or something. He was saying, let's go to California instead.
I think part of that is, theater, because Nate has a really great team. In particular, his manager, Zach, is very up to speed on this stuff. So I'd be surprised if he didn't know, or maybe they didn't tell him yet, but I don't think any of that is necessarily a surprise. By the way, shout out to Dallas. Great town. I always love going there because it's very clean in Dallas, at least where I stay. I was staying right next to the arena, and went for a little run. Nice coffee shops. Nice, there was a lot. There was actually a Mayweather gym, like right next to the arena, but for soccer moms, just like a workout place. And there was also a place called, I think, Sinopolis Luxury Cinemas. And I thought of you guys, GC and Frank. Luxury cinemas, where it was like high-end theater.
I've been to a Sinopolis.
Only the best.
Is it?
They had one in West Hartford back in C2.
Yeah, big time.
High end. It is luxury. Yeah, I've actually fallen asleep. The only time I've ever fallen asleep in a theater was in Sinopolis.
Interstellar.
Close. Tenet.
No.
Another Christopher Nolan movie.
Nolan's not doing it for you. I love that.
Well, no. I love.
We're going to see Oppenheimer though, right? That comes out.
I mean, Interstellar is my favorite movie. Frank hates it.
Oppenheimer, but yeah, we can see that.
We're going to see Oppenheimer. I'm going to see it the day it comes out, no doubt.
David is the last one. Salam alaikum, Ariel and crew. After seeing DC smile when Weidman said he was coming for your job on the pre-show, I needed to get to the bottom of your friendship with DC. I understand. Oh, by the way, shout out to Weidman for dropping my name. I hope he doesn't get fired for that. No, he won't. Weidman's a G. By the way, the best spot for Weidman is on those weigh-in shows. He's perfect at that. It's relaxed. It's fun. Ball busting. They do a great job with the weigh-in show. Honestly, they do. It's one of the best things that they do. And it's the closest thing that they have to Inside the NBA, in my opinion. Shout out to Kenny Smith. He has a new book that came out this week. He's my guest this week on the Basketball Pod. And no one has been able to replicate Inside the NBA, but they've done a pretty damn good job of replicating it with the vibe that they have there. And Weidman does a great job. Anyway, Weidman dropped my name on Friday, which I thought was cool. Didn't have to do that. Back to the question from David. I understand he works for the same company you walked away from, but I know his YouTube channel has been on fire the last few months and has no affiliation with ESPN. He's had a plethora of other guests on the show, including a few with your old buddy Ben Askren. Has he ever invited you on for a throwback segment, or is your friendship that one-sided between the two of you? Wow. He has never invited me on. Would you love or would love any more insight on this relationship? If you could share, I'd love to hear the crew's thoughts on your friendship with DC as well. Do they echo my same sentiment? Do you guys feel like the relationship is one way with me and DC? As outsiders, I want to know, does it feel like I show more love, I put over, I do this, that, as opposed to him? What do you guys think?
Yes, undoubtedly.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. This is tough.
Yeah, I mean, him. Wow, there you go. You're already using the catchphrase.
Yeah, the
catchphrase
is tough.
Yeah, I mean the video of the hug denial. Then we're hearing stories. He's just like he dips from the arena without you.
That's true. Did do that WrestleMania. Yep.
Seems to be a little bit of a history there.
Didn't ask me on the show. Chael comes on all the time. So what do you guys think? Do you think I'm looking desperate? Am I looking thirsty? Should I back off?
I don't know about desperate.
We had the feud at the beginning of the
thirsty.
What is it?
No, I like thirsty. Thirsty might apply there.
Wow. Okay. I don't want to get into another feud.
I think.
with
Look,
DC.
you're just. Yeah, I think you're just looking for a friendship that he's not ready for.
Wow.
That's okay.
Do you think?
Okay.
Do you think that he's afraid to get too close to me? Do you think that?
Yeah.
I think that plays into it for sure.
Do you think I should rethink, my stance? Like, Chael comes on all the time. He actually was in New York for Newark. He was here on a Wednesday. Didn't tell me.
This is how I feel it. This is how I handle all relationships in my life. Open and honest communication. Open and honest communication, Ariel. You have to talk to him and you have to say, look, DC, this thing we've got going is great. But here's how I feel. Here's my emotions. Here's what I'm going through. I'm not blaming you, but I'm just trying to let you know how I feel. Hopefully we can sort this out. These are the things I need, right? You need a little more back from him than you've been giving. You've been giving and giving and giving, and he's not giving it back. And you just have to talk about it and see where he's at. And at the end of that, after you've opened your heart to him and he's not ready, you have to let him go.
What? Just let him go.
Fly away.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, that feels like a step too far. I don't think the friendship needs to end.
Jeez,
it just feels a little one-sided sometimes.
If he's not meeting you at the level that you're, if he's not meeting you at the level that you're meeting him, that's never gonna change. You have to establish these things.
All right. Well, you've given me a lot to think about.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I consider DC a friend.
He's definitely your friend. My thing is sometimes you better show it. If we're doing levels of how much you're doing, I'd say you're probably here. He's probably like here. It feels you're doing
never gonna work.
Touch more.
I come to his defense. People talk about the broadcasting.
Yeah,
you promote it. You promote DC and RC.
Promoted it.
You do a lot, man.
Nobody promotes it more than you.
Asked him multiple times when we were in LA together.
He promotes it a lot.
They do promote it a lot.
Right. Yeah, the UFC broadcast. You're number 2 besides the UFC broadcast.
Asked him a lot of times to meet up.
That's the diciest.
Yeah.
See, this is not good. This is not good. We need to.
Do you think
my
relationship with Chael is healthier than my relationship with DC?
Absolutely,
yeah.
No doubt.
Yes, for sure.
No doubt.
Chael seems like a great friend.
Yeah, Chael almost feels like a regular.
He's doing
at this
his
point.
part.
Yeah.
I mean, he just stops by the old MMA hour, whenever he pleases.
He gives you breaking news all the time
on his route to his YouTube channel. What about when he came? What about this one? Still kind of doesn't say. He came on the show and it was like a quick 20-minute in and out. DC, that was weird, right?
Did we get more time with McGregor
I'll give him
with DC?
I think so.
Wow. I'm gonna give him a pass on that because it's part of a schedule and he has to do these things. Now, would it have been great if he said, "Look, this is my boy, and I'm going to do as much time as I damn well please"?
I mean, Conor went out of his way.
That would have been great.
I mean, Conor went out of his way.
That would have been great. But it seems like he's not there yet.
Conor said Sean Hannity can wait.
He did. He legit said that. And I see that he's doing like a thing with Funky now, which is fine. It's fine, but yeah, no one asked me. No one asked me to come on.
Oh man.
It's time for a combo, Ariel. It's time for a combo.
All right. Should I call him now, or do you think that's
that feels like you'd be putting
probably
him on the
not.
spot.
No.
I mean, I'll call him now. We'll do. By the way, do we believe that?
Don't give this away for free.
Right, that's true. Do we believe that Henry was in a bad cell reception area, or
no? I think he put 2 and 2 together of where Eric was and immediately hung up.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Well, you don't pick up the phone and then hang up if you're in a bad reception area. You just don't pick up the phone.
That was weird. Let's
be serious here.
Yep. All right. Well, a lot to chew on there, a lot to think about. I mean, it's hard to hear that. It's hard to. This reminds me of high school when someone told me that my crush didn't like me, and I was like, "Really?"
But this is just a conversational way to clear the air.
You think we could clear the air?
Crush, it's like you should probably give up.
Yeah, I did say moments ago that when there's an issue, I address it head on. Right? Yeah, you wouldn't know. You know yourself, Frank.
Yeah,
you know yourself. All right. Thanks to everyone for the questions. Shorter questions this week.